Gotta be nice.
Good evening. We're going to go ahead and get the ball rolling. Again, welcome. I am so thrilled to see such a great turnout given the weather, so thank you so much for coming. My name is Linda Soto. I'm the mayor of the village of Hainesville, and I will be introducing to the board and the staff members and some of our volunteers working tonight. Very briefly, we're going to open formally into our board meeting process, and we're going to go through this in just a couple minutes. And then we're not going to adjourn, but we're going to move down front and be closer to you, more intimate. And we're going to share some information with you. We have some handouts and displays in the back, and some of the displays are asking that you share your input and opinions, so please, we encourage you to do that. So we will move on with that more informal process in just a moment. I'm going to ask for everybody to please rise and join me in the pledge. However, we will be following the pledge with a moment of silence in honor of those who perished in Boston with the cowardly bombing act.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor Linda Soto.
Present.
Trustees Darnowski.
Here.
Priest.
Here.
Duberstein. Here. Barrett.
Here.
Daly.
Here.
And Walkington.
Here.
Okay, we are in quorum. We have a full board. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion for approval of tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Roll call.
Trustees Darnowski.
Aye.
Priest.
Aye.
Duberstein. Aye. Barrett.
Aye.
Daly.
Aye.
And Walkington.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, at this time, we'll be taking public comments. I do want to stress there'll be opportunity under the town hall meeting format for you to chat with us or ask questions just one-on-one, not as formally. But anyone that wants to address the board formally tonight, you should have filled out a request in the back and turned it into the clerk, and I do have 3. Are there any others? Okay, at this time, I'd like to ask that Valerie Bowell come forward for a mic.
I can wait till the informal.
Okay. All right. Aaron Walsh?
Same thing.
Same thing? Okay. Don't be shy. I mean, I'm not trying to scare you away. We are thrilled to have an audience, and we love to hear from our residents and business owners. So, Douglas Farwell Williams.
Ditto.
Not shy.
Ditto.
Ditto. God, I was counting on you. All right. With that, we'll move on to our omnibus vote agenda. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Trustees Darnowski.
Aye.
Priest.
Aye.
Duberstein. Aye. Barrett.
Aye.
Daly.
Aye.
And Walkington.
Aye.
Motion carried for the resolution. The numbers are 13-4-70.
Okay, and now at this time, I'm going to ask the board staff to now step down to our more less formal setting, I should say. And everybody, hopefully in the back, picked up a copy of the town hall program, so you can follow along and see what's coming up.
Fine, as usual.
Is everybody comfy? Can everybody hear me okay? Dave, I'm going to make the jump all over the place.
Okay.
Okay, let's start with some introductions so we know who all the players are. And I was just pointing out Dave Kriz, our videographer. Also tonight he's our producer and director, so. Dave is a resident of Hainesville that volunteers his time and puts up with the use at all the board meetings of videotaping, and so we're very appreciative that Dave does that for us. Okay, we're going to start at the far left over here. First lady up is our treasurer, Kelly Hensley. Kelly, take a bow. Next up, we have trustee Jerry Daly. Next up is our senior trustee. Now, what that terms means is that Gary is second in command. He also happens to be, though, the trustee that has served, quite a number of years and lived in Hainesville since the early 70s, Gary?
1978.
Oh, 1978. Okay, so Gary is manager of the Grays Lake Gelatin Farm, and he is our local historian. He shares a lot of useful information, and I will put him against any engineer from any firm if you want to know what way the water's going to flow. Gary. Next up is trustee Kevin Barrett. Next we have our village clerk, Kathy Metzler. Next up is Jeff Gately, our public works superintendent. Jeff also is a former trustee and a resident in Hainesville. Next up is trustee Georgianne Duberstein. Georgianne also heads up the Great Age Club, and that is a group for any seniors 62 or older. So if you're not involved, you may want to make sure you touch base with Georgianne and find out the upcoming events they have. Next up is trustee Wally Priest. And last but not least, in our trustee, John Daronowski. Nice job, John. And then, very important, last but not least, is Chief Perlini. I encourage you, if you haven't had a chance to talk one-on-one with our chief and our other officers present tonight, please do so. These are wonderful people, so we are in very good hands. I also want to point out somebody that's hiding in the corner here. We have a deputy clerk, and her name is Roseanne Starr. Roseanne is also a resident in Hainesville. So, again, thank you all for coming. We had a recent election. I wish I could say the voter turnout was better, because there's a lot of issues beyond the village of Hainesville. We have school districts, park districts, township issues, a lot of different issues. And they're important, and they're things that affect your daily life. But I do thank everyone for the support that you've given me as mayor, and I hope I will do as good and hopefully better job this next go around. And I believe our three trustees that were just on the ballot, which was Trustee Daly, Trustee Duberstein, and Trustee Daronowski, are just as grateful. And I want to say thank you to all the trustees, because I think we've been a great team. We all have our different opinions, but I think we've worked very effectively together. So thank you all. With that, we're going to move on with our program. And first up, Kathy, you're giving me a kind of high sign. Oh, I did not forget my bingo.
I'm not singing.
is our EMA director. And EMA stands for Emergency Management Association. And Mike has some important material in the back, and I encourage you to talk to him. He puts a lot of articles in our newsletter and our website, and he can't tell us enough to be prepared with your to-go bags and ready for the various emergencies. A recent lesson learned is the recent monsoon we had. Hainesville fared very well, but there's a lot of devastation in our neighboring communities. So Mike Benko can attest to that. And he and EMA have been on call. Did you go to Des Plaines or Fox Lake yet, Mike?
Ask for us to come and join them.
Okay, not yet. They still may need you. Okay.
Jeff first.
Okay, all right, very good. Okay, so next up is Dave Ober, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't bring my cheat sheet over here with me, so.
Where do you want
Where would you like to be? Why don't you come over here?
Okay.
All right.
You and your friend.
We're going to start with a very special guest. This is David Ober from the Grays Lake Historical Society Museum, and he's going to tell you about an exciting display that we encourage you all to attend. So, Dave?
Thank you for the opportunity. Over the course of the next 3 hours, I'm going to sit on I would never dare use the privilege. We're really pleased at the Grays Lake Heritage Center Museum, just 5 minutes down the road here, to be hosting the exhibition Abraham Lincoln Self-Made in America. We are the last of 11 museums in the country to host this exhibition, which was created by the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library and Museum. The show actually explores the life of our 16th president from his boyhood all the way to his last days in office, and it really is quite a treat. Every week we have been working with different community partners and of course our wonderful sponsors to help put together a pretty attractive package of really fun programs as well. For example, if you come by this Saturday at 2 o'clock, we have Professor Sharon Alter. She's going to talk to us about Mary Todd Lincoln and Dorena Howell Davis, the two first ladies of the Civil War, of course, the USA and the Confederate States of America as well. Next Saturday at 2 p.m., we have an actor who is portraying the great abolitionist Frederick Douglass. We've got musical programs, we've got lectures, and of course we want you to encourage you to come to visit the exhibit itself and to check out all of our other wonderful exhibitions as well, including our national award-winning show, Embracing Change, the Growth of Grays Lake, created in partnership between the Grays Lake Historical Society and the Village of Grays Lake. It's a wonderful thing. I would like to share just a couple tidbits with you because I think you'll find this pretty interesting today. I'm always humbled when I hear about a person with this sort of origin story. I want to talk to you a little bit about a gentleman who was born out of state, was raised on a farm, had little formal education, who lost a parent in childhood and had a step-parent, who came to Illinois in the 1830s, served as a postmaster, a surveyor, helped to plat one of our local communities even, served as a lawyer, lost and won elections, even changed parties at one point, and of course had a distinctive beard. The gentleman I'm talking about, of course, is Elijah Haines of Hainesville. But it happens that his story parallels Lincoln's in a lot of ways. And the two of them did actually meet each other in 1847 at the Great River and Harbor Convention in Chicago. And I know Charlotte Renahan, the president of the Grays Lake Historical Society, and Linda Wilhide, one of our volunteers, worked together to create some really interesting panels in the exhibit. So you'll not only learn about Lincoln, but if you look at our east wall, you'll learn about what's happening in our area along the way, and you'll see these parallel lives too. So give you one more reason to come by and visit. I have some program guides at the back table here. Please do pick one up before you leave. It has a full listing of all of the wonderful supporting programs we have in cooperation with the exhibit. Also has coupons to some of our local businesses, so shop local, let's keep it in our community, and let's have some fun. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks so much, Dave. Dave is a gem of a find. We are very lucky to have him at this museum. He came to us from Geneva. Have any of you ever been to the city of Geneva? Or seen the work done there? That's all Dave's doing, and now we have him in Grays Lake. And Dave, thank you so much.
And I love it. Thank you. Come see me.
Bye, Dave. Quiet guy, that Dave. Next up is Chief Perlini. He's going to tell you a little bit about what's going on in the area and our wonderful Grays Lake Hainesville Police Department.
I'd just like to say I brought two of my best with me, Sergeant Guy Fiaschi and CSO, Community Service Officer Karen Shepard. I know you all have probably seen Karen. She does the most work on any of us. And she is ever prevalent in town, especially in front of the school twice a day, in the driving rain, the monsoons, the whole shooting match. Like I told her today, I almost felt bad the other day when I drove past her. Oh! No, I'm just kidding. I really did feel bad. I didn't get out and help or anything, but I felt bad. But we do have a relatively big thing going on this Saturday. It's sort of a new thing for us. You can drop off prescription drugs that you no longer have a use for. Maybe you have a family member that's passed on or something like that, or for whatever reason you have prescription drugs in your house that you can no longer use. We're going to set up a little drop-off here in front of the Village Hall and in front of the Grays Lake Village Hall also. There'll be an officer there with a box. All you have to do is drive up in the car and drop whatever items you have in that box. No questions asked, no information taken, just drop the items in the box. We take it to the DEA, and the DEA disposes of it for us. We'll be doing it this weekend, this Saturday coming up, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and then approximately somewhere around 6 months we'll be doing it again for a total of at least twice a year. We hope to expand the program a little bit, but that's just kind of how it's working. We have to go on the DEA's schedule for this kind of thing. So it came up pretty quick. We grabbed it, and I just want everybody to know about it. Second thing I'm going to mention, like a broken record, because every time I talk about it, please lock your cars. It's just huge that you lock your cars. Many of our car burglaries, in fact, almost none of our car burglaries are forced entry. All of our car burglaries, there is a vehicle left open. And when you leave your vehicle open, you leave an opportunity for a thief to take anything inside it. Even to a point where you may not know that they took something. They went through your car, they went through your wallet that was in your car, but nothing's missing, so you don't report it. 6 weeks later, you find out they wrote down all your credit card numbers and they've been charging things the whole time. You need to lock your cars, you need to take your valuables out of your cars, and always remember, most of us have electric garage door openers. If that's sitting in your open car, people will have access to your home. So please, just as a part of vigilance, always good to leave your lights on at night too. We have officers driving around all night and all day. If there's a problem, parking problem, garbage problem, whatever, I don't care what it is, we're a full service agency, give us a call. We always respond to calls, always. It may take a little while sometimes, we have to stack it, but we will always send an officer out on a complaint. So please, feel free to call us. You can call the Village Hall will call us. But let us know what's going on in your neighborhoods. That's how we solve things, that's how we fix things. After this is all over and we're all kind of talking around and talking and milling around, feel free to talk to Guy or Karen or myself about whatever concerns you have. We have some items on the back table. We had a presentation last week on identity theft. I believe that presentation is now on the village website.
The end of this week.
Okay, the end of this week it'll be on the village website. So you can access it yourself at home and go through it, and there's some decent information on there that I think will be valuable for anybody. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask any of us. And Karen and Guy can answer your questions just like I can, so feel free to ask any one of us anything. And that's about all I got. Okay, you here?
Yeah.
Jerry, do you want to work that into the room?
I can do that.
There might be a surprise jumping out of our new recycle cards. I'll sit on this side.
I'm Jerry Dale, I'm the chair of the financial committee, and our finances are not in the dumpster. I'd like to introduce the other members, or at least inform you of the other members on the finance committee. They are trustees John Daranowski, Georgianne Duberstein, Wally Crease, and our treasurer Kelly Hensley. Our charge of the finance committee is to charge it, is to oversee the budget and the budget processes. This year's budget estimated approximately $2.6 million in revenue. Of that $2.6 million in revenue, we levied for and were estimating that we would receive approximately $595,000 in real estate taxes. This estimate is based upon our levy request and due to our convoluted state taxing process, hoping and guessing. The board passed the budget on April 10th. Then just under a week ago, we were notified that we were not receiving $595,000, but rather we'd be receiving $491,000 in real estate tax revenue. This left our budget with a shortfall of approximately $104,000. The reason for this drop in revenue is our EAV, Equalized Assessed Valuation of the village, dropped $12 million from last year. That means that the value of the taxable land in Hainesville is $12 million less this year than it was last year. Less value, less to tax, less income. So in response to that shortage, that $104,000 shortage, the mayor and I met and we suspended all further fiscal year 2012-2013, which ends this May. We suspended all expenditures, and the Finance Committee, in a meeting this evening, suspended approximately $60,000 of 2013-2014 projects and expenditures. These items will remain suspended until the completion of our annual audit, which will be held in June. At the end of the audit, we'll have an accurate picture of how much of the 2012-2013 budget was unspent. Not everything we budgeted for happened, so we hopefully will have some money left over. We will then review the suspended projects and decide which ones we can finance. Overall, even with this aforementioned glitch, the village's finances are solid. We have approximately $1.5 million in our savings account. Our intent is to maintain that approximate amount in savings to serve as a safety net for our taxpayers should the economy continue to stutter. Some of the credit for this savings account goes to our previous administrator, Ted Mueller, and his boards from the past, and some of it goes to us for having a balanced budget over the last number of years. So our aim is, in fact, when we chose our amount for levy this year, we asked for the same dollar amount that we got last year in a hope to keep your taxes down. Now, we don't control how much you eventually get charged, but our goal was to keep yours as low as possible for the village. And I'll be around for questions later if any of you have some. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. That was very well explained, and I thank the Finance Committee and Jerry for all their hard work. And yes, we are in, I have to tell you, a really good financial shape compared to what I hear going on in many municipalities. And I and the other local mayors continue to cry out to Springfield as much as possible for reform in certain areas. Not only with our taxes, sales tax, but also recent discussions on motor fuel tax. These are all important issues to our local municipalities, as well as our park districts and schools. So that will certainly continue with due diligence. At this time, I'd like to give our village clerk, Kathy Metzger, the floor. Kathy, you want to come to this end, or you want to take it from there?
Can I just take it from here?
Sure you can.
Correct. Good evening. I wanted to just touch base about our website. We have a lot of good information on our website, good links, good pages. On the front of the page, we have a request for service. If anybody needs anything or having problems or issues, please use that request of service. It goes to myself and Jeffrey, and then we take it, we direct it to the people that it goes to. Also, we have a relatively new feature, subscribe to announcements, which is also on the front page of the website. And if you want to stay in the loop of what's going on in the village, you can sign up on the back table. There's a clip, and give us your email address, or you can just go onto our website and put your email address in, And what happens is when we have, every month we change our announcements. So for April announcements, we go in, we put what's happening on the website. And once we change that, it will be emailed to you. So you will see all the announcements that there are for the month. We probably update it twice a month at the most, unless there's something really going on in the village. So please, once you sign up your email address, then you have to confirm that you are the one that signed up for it. So you sign up, then you get a confirmation, and once you get that confirmation, then you're good to go and you'll receive your emails. I wanted to touch base on identity theft. Chief Perlini stole my little blurb here, but the PowerPoint presentation will be on the website by the end of the week, and the officers did a phenomenal job. And that was also on our website. We also have a calendar that you can click on, or just hold your mouse over the date, and it will show what is happening in the village. And that really is a good benefit for all of our residents. And then solicitors' permits. We have a lot of calls sometimes regarding solicitors that are in the village. What we do is they come in, they fill out an application. We send that application to the police, Grays Lake Police Department. They do a background check. And if they are okay, then they are issued a permit. And the permit is like this, it's a badge. They should, and they're told they have to wear the badge. So if someone comes and knocks on your door and they don't have a badge on and you don't want to answer the door, don't. But call the police, because we don't want people in our village that we don't know who's out there, what they're doing. So don't be afraid to call the police. So this is what it should look like. If you don't want any solicitors coming knocking on your door, we have these signs that you can put on your door or your window next to your door, no soliciting, and they will respect that. That's it, thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. On that notification note, before we move on with the program, I just want to interject a little bit. Communication is really important to us, all the officials, myself, the staff, the police department. We need to hear what you're thinking, what you're happy with and what you're not happy with. We can't read your mind. We make some good guesses. Obviously, we live in the community, so we think we know what's going on. It doesn't mean we know or see or consider every different dimension to an issue. So, in the back, we're asking for input on how you like to best be communicated with. We do a monthly newsletter that goes out in the utility bill. Some people really appreciate that, but I can tell you that I have seen the staff take many of bills with the newsletter right behind it that you can tell has not been read when they come in to have it paid. And that's okay too, but I hope we're reaching you somehow. Hopefully then you're using the website. As Kathy mentioned, now you can subscribe to the announcements. And I want to stress that that is different. Don't think that you're automatically going to get that feature if you subscribe to our phone outreach program. That's the robocalls. We can do emergency calls. When we had the recent snowstorms, a couple years ago that were really bad, we sent out kind of a series of updates. And there's what are called community outreach calls. You got one last night, reminding you and inviting you of this meeting tonight, as well as the prescription drug drop-off coming up this Saturday. So that is a separate feature from this new announcements. If something came up and I said, Kathy, we're not going to wait till May announcements, I want you to add this announcement to the website. If you regularly visit the website, hopefully you're going to see it. But if you subscribe to that feature, you would get an email as soon as she posted it within 24 hours, letting you know that this announcement had been added. Now, there's also people that have complained about our outreach phone calls. People don't like being called. Believe me, we don't do it to annoy you. I don't program those calls for fun, but again, communication is important. What is the best way to let you know what is going on in the village? We want to know. We also have a picture of an electronic message sign. You see those in front of schools. Avon Township has one. We have not budgeted this. This is looking in the future. We want your input. Do you feel you would benefit from this type of electronic messaging? There's a form. Put your thoughts. It also gives you an opportunity to let us know what you like, whether it's the newsletter, the website. So please take a minute and fill that out. It would really be helpful to us. I have two other quick announcements before we move on, and this is some exciting news. I just got this today. We have several parks in Hainesville. We are in two park districts. The west end of town is in the Round Lake Park District, and the east side of town is in the Grays Lake Park District. I have recently met with both park district directors. Trustee Duberstein assisted me with this endeavor, and we have exciting news and projects going on with both park districts. One being, when spring really does arrive, we're going to be doing a cleanup in an open space that's park property, and one of our residents here, Kristen Napoli, is going to volunteer his time and help some of the professionals remove the buckthorn and other things going on there. On the Grays Lake Park District side, I had Jeff Nihilia, the director, show up today to let me know Antler Park, which is our first park, it is our oldest park, and it's in pretty sad condition. It was built by volunteers. I was one of them. It was a lovely park, but it wasn't done by the professionals, so it showed its age quicker. Not only are we addressing grading issues that needed to be addressed this year, but the exciting news is it is number 2. It has moved up to number 2 on the list of parks that need to be redone, and it will go out to bid June of 2014, and the job will start in fall of 2014, meaning the whole park will all be redone. It'll get all new equipment. It'll be ADA accessible. It'll have some new landscaping put in. So that's very exciting news. And so I want you to know that the board and our local agencies are working to keep up the quality of life and try to preserve and push up our property values by doing these types of projects. With the other news you hear of what's going on with the drop in EAVs, etc. So with that, we're going to give the floor to our Public Works Superintendent, Jeff Gately.
Thanks. Good evening. A couple of things I just want to touch base with the residents on. The first one, which is the most devastating one, is the emerald ash borer. We have learned a couple of months ago that the village is indeed infected with this disease. Basically, the emerald ash borer bores into ash trees, lays its larvae. The larvae makes its way up to the top of the tree, and it slowly strangles the tree, and it starts to die from the top down. There is no treatment that cures this disease. Unfortunately, the tree has to be cut down. We have been the recipient of a grant for $10,000 to mitigate the emerald ash. Basically, what we've done, if you look over on the map over here, we can do that afterwards. We have 320 ash trees within the village limits. Over the next 5 years, we have to remove every one of those trees and replant. As opposed to doing it all within a couple-year period, our trees are still healthy. They look good for the most part. There's a few of them that are starting to show some stress signs. What we don't want to have happen is wait till the last minute when the trees actually die and don't come back. Then you're going to have, like in Buffalo Grove, Park Ridge, areas like that, you're going to have blocks and blocks of dead trees. So we're trying to be proactive about it. So even though your tree seems to look healthy, should you have an ash tree, it's going to be cut down even if it looks good and planted with something else. So we can try and stabilize the neighborhood. So, you know, to keep the village looking good. So this is a terrible thing, and unfortunately, ash trees are the largest trees that we have in the village. So it's going to be Yes.
Where would most of the ash trees be located? I don't know one in Union.
They're throughout, they're in every subdivision, they're in the front of the homes, or on the side, it'd be in the village park.
They're parkway trees.
They're parkway trees. But they're parkway, in the front of the home, kind of by the sidewalk, you know, close to the street. Those are the trees we're talking about. So, yeah, over 300 have to be replaced, so it's gonna be a 5-year period.
Can you emphasize, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Jeff, let's emphasize how many we're removing this year.
This year, if you look at the map, we're gonna remove 40. And what we've done is we've kind of taken areas where there are a concentration of ash and taken some from one subdivision, taken some from another street. So we're not gonna come through a whole block, wipe out every tree. We're gonna kind of do it in stages. So as we circle through the village, trees from year one will have already established for a couple of years. So we'll have kind of a nice balance. So this is going to be at least a 5-year project, if not longer, depending again how funding comes through. And if we do get extra grants and stuff that are available.
What kind of trees are you guys going to replace with, you know yet, or?
Actually, we do. They're sycamore, American sweet gum, some type of maple. I do have a list. I didn't put it on here, but what they want you to diversify. So and part of the grant is you cannot plant a certain percentage of any specific type of tree. You can only put an X amount of this, X amount of this, X amount of this. So, you know, like the Dutch elm everybody had several years ago. So we don't have 300 of the same species of tree that's going to come through and wipe everything out. So, yes, sir.
When you talk about removing the trees, are you talking about removing the woods as well?
Yes. Yes.
Does Cranberry Lake have any trees, elm trees?
Yes, they do. Actually, Cranberry Lake has quite a few of them, and actually the infestation is more so over here, starting to work its way east.
I want to clarify, Doug, are you talking about Cranberry Lake, the subdivision, or Cranberry Lake?
Cranberry Lake.
Okay.
The actual lake.
Yeah, the lake in
No.
back.
No.
Oh, good, okay, great.
No, typically the ash trees were put in by the developers because they were a fast-growing hardy tree that are reasonably inexpensive to put in.
Sorry.
So keep an eye on, you know, this is devastating for everybody, and unfortunately, when we do make it up to the older areas of the subdivisions, like in front of Deer Point, some of these trees are 40, 45 feet tall. I mean, they're big, beautiful trees that unfortunately have to come down. So it's, I wish there was a better way, but there's not.
Sorry, just one more question. At what stage are the new trees going to be at?
It will be anywhere between 2.5 to 3. It's going to be a standard tree. They don't want you to put anything larger in there because it's harder for that tree to adapt after it's transplanted.
But it's not going to be sapling or anything like that?
No, it'll be a decent sized tree. Also, every tree that does get put in will have a gator bag that the village public works will be filling, so residents don't have to worry about it. It's part of the grant that we maintain these things for 3 years after the planting. So, you know, we're trying to do our best to help the residents out, but, you know, unfortunately, this is happening everywhere. The whole Chicagoland area is under quarantine. It's infected the state of Michigan, and it's eventually going to overspread most of the country. So, sorry to bring doom and gloom here, but I think that's the grant was through the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus of Chicago. It was, we found out about it just in the nick of time, too. We had about a 2-week window to actually put together a plan to get the cost and everything associated and get everything sent in. And there were 32 or 35 municipalities that were awarded, and there were, I think, almost 100 that applied. So we're very gracious that we have. Yes, sir.
Does the homeowner have a choice as to whether or not they want a tree?
We haven't discussed that yet, no. Typically, if there's a tree there, we like to have a tree put back.
I put back the tree, so.
We may talk on that on a case-by-case basis as the program starts. On another, oh, yes, sir.
Once the
trees have been removed and disposed of, is there something in the process that takes care of the borer itself?
Yes, once the tree is cut down, it gets mulched, and then it'll go through a chipper, and then it goes through a grinder, and that takes care of the end, and it wipes that out. And the larvae too. And actually, the mulch and the used wood that we're taking down will be put around the walking path around Cranberry Lake, so we're gonna recycle everything that we're taking down to keep it here. And that's gonna end up saving us some money as well. Any other questions about this? You in the back, sir, yes.
What about the landscaping blocks and the decorations and flowers that everybody has around all the actual trees?
What we're gonna do, when we're ready to start the removal, each homeowner or resident will get a letter stating that your tree is affected this year, we're planning on removing it this year, and we're gonna kind of ask you to remove any blocks or rocks and flowers and so forth before it starts.
Okay, I'd like to keep things moving along. I think we're great having some good conversation here, but we're not going anywhere, so Jeff can answer more questions. I encourage you to, when we're done and we're mingling, to come over. We have a map of all the subdivisions, and the 40 trees that are coming out are marked with a little red dot, I believe.
That's correct, yes. Everything is marked with a red dot, and there's some other
And if you're one of the lucky winners, I just want to tell you, if you don't already know, some of you know, not all of you, I live on the corner of Buck and Lisk. I'm on a corner lot. So I have 2 parkway trees, as most corner lots do. Guess what? They're both ash. They are large, shade-giving, lovely trees. And I'm going to lose them both. And I am heartbroken. But we have been monitoring this for a number of years. We didn't hit the panic button when, you know, they first came out with doom and gloom and said you need to cut down any tree and take them. If you find one, they all have to be removed. And, you know, and there's some towns that did some very drastic things, as Jeff mentioned, where they just went in and just, you know, you looked down at a tree and it was butt naked. Every tree was gone. And we decided to bide our time. We knew things weren't that bad. We did experiment with different treatments. There are treatments that can prolong this from happening, but it is inevitable. So over the years, we've seen it spread. We are surrounded by it, and it is well into Hainesville. And ash trees are susceptible to wind damage. Once they get weakened by this, then you got big problems. So before we get to that point, we really felt if we could got this grant, that would give us a good start. So
yeah, just trying to be proactive to keep the neighborhood looking as good as we can. Speaking of things looking good, the water tower is finally going to be revamped. We expected it to last. The last paint job lasted a little longer. They're planning on starting on May 13th, weather permitting. Just like everything else. If they do start on the 13th, the projected finish date would be the 2nd of July. They're going to completely sandblast the outside. They're going to spot clean the inside, repaint the inside, outside. It will be tented, so they're going to start with it. It's going to be the first thing you see. They'll start putting a big containment tent for the sandblasting and such. So that's exciting news. And the only other thing I want to mention real quick, June 22nd, we're going to have another electronics collection event next door at the Public Works facility from 9 to noon. It's a drive-through. You can come in, pull into the building. We will unload your car for you, and you drive right out. So thank you very much. That's all I've got.
thank you, Jeff. Okay, want to touch on a couple other issues. Our director and producer reminded me of a recent announcement that I don't think everybody's heard enough about. We're still waiting for some of the finalized paperwork and publication, but it is a done deal. I mentioned that we have 2 park districts. So some of us live in the Grays Lake Park District, some of us live in the Round Lake Park District, and we pay our portion on our tax bill to whatever park district we live in. So if you're in the Round Lake Park District, you get that program book. It says resident rate, it says non-resident rate. If you live on the other side, you get your program book, it says resident rate, non-resident rate. Well, I'm very thrilled to announce that both Park District boards have voted and agreed that Hainesville residents should be allowed to pay resident rates at either park district.
Yeah.
The only caveat that's added to that, and I think it's fair and you'll agree, I don't think it'll hinder us too much, is when you look at the program, it'll give a registration date, and it'll say residents can start registering this date, and then there's another date where it opens for non-residents. We're still going to have to follow that guideline, but the good news is if you're registering in the opposite park district, you still get to pay the resident rate. So I think it's very cool because both park districts are great. I think they have their own unique niches. Some are stronger in, different areas. I have, with my kids growing up, used both park districts regularly. So if you haven't explored both park districts, I encourage you to do so. They have great things for the seniors, people of all ages, so check it out. One other item of note I just wanted to add is we have a board in the back, in the middle, by that middle window, and you'll see there's an aerial view on the top of Washington Street. And, Washington Street will be widened this year. It's been in the papers. It's on the Lake County DOT website. I encourage you to go there if you haven't. And then, if you travel up by Rollins Road in 83, where the railroad tracks, when you're heading up to Walmart, there's going to be construction going on there as well because they're putting in an underpass under the railroad tracks. So we're going to have a lot of construction excitement going on in the area. So what this board gives you is there's a yellow map underneath that shows Central Lake County. Hainesville is the blue dot on the map, and there's some other dots surrounding it that will show different construction projects. And then to the left, there's a legend that will let you know what that project is and what the timeline is. Now, these timelines keep changing, okay? But trust me, it's going to happen. It's going to be this summer and fall, and some of it is going to go on into next year. So this is the current status. I encourage you to go on the website regularly and check what's going on, because you're going to have to look at different routes. I think also we're going to be in for some real excitement on Hainesville Road, because a lot of people are going to be coming down and using Hainesville Road to get to 120, given what's going to be going up on Rollins and what's going to be going on in Washington. So just in all fairness, you've been given due warning. Okay. Now, before we adjourn to our mingle period and make sure you look at everything and get all the important handouts, we like to end with a bang. So I'm going to ask John Miranowski and or Jeff to push out the projector.
You forgot your
Oh, it's fine. All right. Trustee Georgianne Duberstein is going to be leading us through a PowerPoint, and while they're setting up, she has some added announcements. So, Georgianne, I'm going to give you the mic.
Okay. And George will say that I talk loud. I wear several hats in the village, so I want to give you some other bits of information before I talk about the Wetland Open Space and Woodland Committee. The Great Age Club has been meeting for over 7 years, and as Linda said, it's for seniors 62 or better. And if you have a senior in your house and your spouse is not a senior, you're still both welcome to join. We meet monthly on the first Tuesday of the month at 2 o'clock here in the Village Hall. We have informative programs of a variety of subjects, such as estate planning, container gardening, self-defense, drug interactions, the history of Lake County, and even a Zumba class. We've taken trips to Milwaukee for an international fair, to Nippersing Forest Preserve for our annual picnic, to Skokie to the Holocaust Museum, to Lincolnshire to the Marriott for dinner theater. And our next events will be an Italian lunch at CLC hosted by their culinary school students on Friday, May 3rd at 11:30. And this will be followed by a trip to the Mitchell Museum of Native Americans in Evanston at 1:30 for a guided tour. So if you're interested in attending, just let me know by next Monday. Our next regular meeting will be Tuesday, May 7th at 2 o'clock. We'll have speakers that will be talking about public transportation for seniors in Lake County, and also information about how to remain independent in your own home. And we'll also plan a tour of the Historical Society, as you heard from Dave, to see the special Lincoln exhibit. We'd love to have you join us, so please feel free to contact me. Other important dates, I chair the annual garage sale, and we've set a date. It'll be Saturday and Sunday, July 20th and 21st. Last year, we had 90 households participate in the garage sale, and 40 of them donated their leftovers to the Salvation Army. So we'd love to have as many of you save your goodies and trash or treasure, and let me know that you're interested. Now, the Wetland Open Space and Woodland Committee, known as WOW, which I chair, is composed of about 10